Hi everybody, this is Ellie. Happy New Year and thanks so much for joining me today for a video where I show you my 2020 bullet journal setup. I've been using a bullet journal since September and I've really been liking it. I was using a pocket-sized moleskin and I really enjoy the small size. The moleskin was fine. It served my purposes and was completely functional, but I couldn't use all of my many pens in it because a lot of them tended to bleed through. So when I saw that Hobonichi had come out with a plain notebook, I thought, maybe this is time to try cutting a notebook down inspired by Sarah Martinez and seeing if I can use that as a pocket-sized notebook. So that's what I have in here. I took my A6, I have another one here, so I took my A6 to Staples and I asked them if they could cut it down, and they cut it down for me right then and there, which was perfect. So you can see the size difference here. And I love it. I love the size. I already knew I loved the Tamale River paper, so I'm really glad. I know not every Staples will do it, but I was super lucky. So I'm actually really happy with my setup this year. I watched a ton of videos just seeing how other people were setting up, what spreads they were using, and kind of trying to rein myself in and be realistic about what I needed, what I would actually use, and what worked for me. I'll just start flipping through and explain what I've done. I have it here in a Sojourner field note size folio, and this is in the Stag leather with a special brown pocket. So this is one of Rowena's structured leathers, and it's also a pull-up. And I really look forward to seeing how this one ages while I use it. If you're new to my channel, I typically switch covers every month because I do have a collection and I love keeping my setup fresh that way because the contents inside the notebook pretty much stays the same. But this way I can just decorate and use what I have. In the pocket here, I have a hello card from Field Notes and this sticker from Mona at Ghostpuff. I just have a card in the front for cutting washi, sorry about the glare, and this notebook from Hobonichi. On the front here, I put a sticker that I got from a Chic Sparrow order, and these two are from Cheyenne Barton. And then this is a Kita washi sticker where I just put the date that I started the notebook or the month, and I'll put the date that it's finished. This is new for me. In my past setups, I've had a blank Field Notes notebook usually in the front here where I could just scribble down anything random and then organize it where I wanted it to go. This year, I'm going to try and read Getting Things Done, and I'm already familiar or a little bit familiar with some of the concepts. And I've started an inbox here with just these little post-it notes. And this way I can jot down anything that I need to, and then I can put it where it needs to go and just recycle them afterwards. I have my quote stamped on the front, which I absolutely love. I always enjoy having a quote at the beginning of every journal or planner that I use. I made my own contact page here. I just have my name, phone number, and email address in case I ever misplace this. And I've moved on to my index. This year for my index, I did draw a dividing line. I really like the numbers to all be lined up, and the way that I did it last year, it was so staggered that it was just frustrating to me, so I thought I would try something new this year, and so far it's looking good. I left a few pages. I skipped lines too, and I'm pretty sure I'll still have enough. And continuing with the Getting Things Done method, I am going to have a section for projects that's at the back of the book. So I already have a tab here. Anything that falls under that category, I'll be able to put in that back section, and I'll list under here. That's why I put it on its own index page. This is my first time ever trying to incorporate the Getting Things Done system even a little bit, so it'll be trial and error. I'll see how it goes. Here I'm going to put my word of the year. What I'll be doing is working on the power sheets by Cultivate What Matters. In my ideal world, I was going to have everything all ready and set up to go by January, but that didn't happen. That's why my videos are coming a little bit late. I've given myself the month of January to do all of the power sheets prep work, and I'm going to choose, or hopefully a word will speak to me at that point, and then I'll put it in. This is where I started numbering my page, right after my index. So then we're moving into my future log. I got these washi flake calendar stickers from Jet Pens, and I forget the name right now, but I will definitely link them below. I love these. I think they're great. The sticker itself is just this plain calendar, and it's undated. So I wrote all the numbers, and then I had some washi tape that I had gotten from Rowena at Sojourner that had the months here. So it just went together perfectly, and I think it's going to be great. So I've written in birthdays, and I use the Zig Clean Color dot markers to just highlight the date, the number, and it's really visually easy for me to see if there's something going on. Pink is going to be for birthdays and blue for events right now. And I still have the space at the bottom here to write down anything that I need to do in that month. Then we've moved on to my grid and shortcuts. And this was an idea that I kept seeing come up on people's videos, and it made a lot of sense. It's just numbering your grid or your dot grid and having that already worked out for you for when you're making spreads that you want to divide in different ways. The other thing that I included here was just the pens and the colors of the markers that I had used to set this up in case I ever lost one or it ran out and for some reason I tossed it without checking in on the color. So just really quickly while it's open, I tried to go simple here. The first thing I started with was the colors that I wanted to use. And these are my three primary colors. They're all the Faber-Castell Pitt Artist pens, and they're the brush pens, but they also, like with light enough pressure, it's fine to do just the thin lines like that. So I have these three, which you'll see throughout. And then I was gifted these Stabilo highlighters for Christmas, and I absolutely love them. And this is almost an exact match for this brush pen. So I'm using this for any sort of highlighting or bigger sections that I want standing out. You'll see what I mean as I continue to flip through. The pens that I used for the setup were the Le Pen Technical Drawing Pens. So I used the 0.1, 0.005, and 0.003. I just have a Staedtler mechanical pencil. I have some tabs in here that you'll see, and I used the Pilot multi-ball pen for that. And like I already mentioned, I'll be using these dot markers in the pink, the gray, and the blue. So really helpful to have that all in here for when I want to continue making spreads or just for a reference. This page will be for my intentions, which again, I will come back to once I have worked on my power sheet prep. I included in here the Getting Things Done workflow diagram, which I'm hoping is just a helpful resource for focusing on being productive and, well, getting things done. I also put in a little munchkin sticker here from Once More with Love that says, "Hello, I'm trying my best." And I love that as a reminder that while this is a goal that I'm working towards, I know it's not going to be perfect, and that's okay. Here I have a wish list, and I also included a little think before you buy section for myself. So I just wrote down some questions that I'd like to ask myself before I make a purchase. So did I plan this purchase? Is this a company I want to support? Does it suit my needs at this moment? And that's a big one for me because it's very tempting to buy things that I see other people using, even though their lifestyle is not similar to my lifestyle and it just doesn't make sense for me at this time. So this question I think is probably going to be one of the most important ones I ask myself. Would I rather put this money towards something else, and can it wait? And then I've just sectioned it off for planning, clothing, and other. I have gift ideas here for the people I know I'll be buying for, and a couple of empty ones for other people who will come up through the year. Oh, this is one of my favorite spreads that I have ever done, and this was an idea that I saw Helen at The Coffee Monsters Co. do on her YouTube channel, and I just loved it. So this is books to read, and I expect to read more than this, but I chose 8 books from my shelf that I already owned and that I wanted to read this year. And then I just did my best to sketch the covers in grayscale and black pen, and I love how it turned out. So I have 4 nonfiction on this side and 4 fiction on this side. I put in some stars for the rating. I just used my Hobonichi stencil for that. This gray line underneath is where I'm going to write the date that I finished the book. I'm really looking forward to this and really happy with how this turned out. It was a lot of fun. This page here is a things to check out page. So I love when I get recommendations, like podcasts, movies, books. I just will be writing it in, and I like to write who recommended it or where, if it's a website or a magazine or anything. This is one of those cases where I did use the Stabilo highlighter. It is the perfect size to highlight in this grid, which is wonderful. And I do use the trick where I highlight right onto the post-it note, otherwise it does pool pretty badly, and this just keeps it nice and clean. Here I have a self-care section, so I have some coping statements, how to do the work from the Holistic Psychologist. She's one of my favorite self-care Instagram accounts. Just some notes on self-judgment, self-compassion, comparisons, radical acceptance, and a dialectical behavioral approach, which is something that I enjoy reading about. So I like to keep those notes in there for reference. On this page here, I made a Cyclo Tracker, and I'm not sure if this is called a year in pixels, if I'm not coloring in every space, but that's where this was inspired. I just made a little key for some of the symptoms that I get so I can keep track, and then I'll be able to mark in when my period comes and have that all in one space. And I also left a section for notes if there's anything that I need to write down or any questions I have or anything like that. This is a section for health, so just appointments and updates, any medication, any dosage changes, anything like that. And then this side here is for any questions or concerns that I want to bring up at any appointments. So I have a spread like that for me and one like that for my partner. I made another yearly spread for, I called it the Curly Girl Tracker. My hair is curly and I use the Curly Girl method. So last year I did it in like traditional little calendar layouts. This year I'm going to try it like this. I'll just write the letters in the dates that I follow any of these steps or use any of these products. This is a section for social media ideas. This here is a YouTube video schedule. What I've done is I've just written which week of the year we're in and separated it by the months. And I did a section here, so I'm going to write it in pencil first in case anything changes. And once it's actually posted, I'll write the date it's posted, and I'll probably just go over this in pen. I just started my channel in the fall, and it was pretty spontaneous. Going forward, I just want to be able to plan it out a little further in advance. This is another spread that I'm really excited to try. It's a Kanban board. I got this idea from the Plant-Based Bride on YouTube. Basically, it's just split into sections, and I just chose the sections that made sense for me when I'm doing a video. So anything that I haven't started filming yet is in the waiting section. Then it moves to filming, to editing, uploading, writing the description, and posted. I just use these post-it flags in here, and I'll move the flag as I move to each stage of the process. I think this will be really helpful, especially if I have more than one video kind of on the go at the same time. I look forward to trying this out. This is the flag that I use the Pilot multi-ball pen on. I find it writes really nicely on that surface. These last spreads are, I left 4 pages here, or 2 spreads for lettering, so I like to write in a few different alphabets that I'll use throughout the year for different titles or any special quotes or anything. I also left 2 spreads or 4 pages for doodles. And then it moves right into January. This is nice because the Hobonichi has such a small grid that there are enough to do the months in a vertical layout, whereas in my Moleskine I was turning the book like this. I did my tasks on this side because I'm figuring if I'm in like a daily page, I can just kind of flip over and see my tasks. I don't think it really matters. I'll see how that goes. And I'm also thinking I'm going to include a focus for each month. So this month's focus is setting goals and intentions using power sheets. And here I just used my Stamp Stabilo highlighter to highlight the weekend, just to help me kind of have that visual separation. And then right into my dailies, and I love it. I love the paper. I love how the highlighter looks. If you look here, I got totally confused about the days. I think what happened is I had done some back planning in my Hobonichi, and then I don't know. I'm not sure what happened, but it's okay. I covered it up and just kept on moving. So I have tabs in the 3 places on top here. So I have one on my future log for the month, one on my monthly log, and then, well, it's the next page right now, but one on my daily log. Last year, I definitely didn't really use my future log or my monthly log nearly as much as I wanted to. So this year, I'm going to try and use these in tandem more and see if that helps with productivity or just organization, and I think it probably will. We'll see how it goes. And then I put the one tab here on the side, and this is where the projects will be. So I left about 10 pages at the back here for that. And then I always leave, I didn't write it yet, but these back pages will be for pen tests. I really am happy with this setup. This quote, I was stuck between this quote and another quote, but this one was more impactful for me on a daily basis. However, I really wanted to include the other quote somewhere where I would see it or could refer to it really easily. And so I came up with the idea of putting it at the back here, and I'm so happy with how this turned out. So I just tipped in a piece of vellum to the back cover here, and then I printed on a piece of Hobonichi paper that I had sliced out of my 2019 Hobonichi Mega because I had a lot of pages back there that I didn't use. This quote here is one that I came across recently. I think one of the self-care accounts I follow on Instagram had posted it, and I absolutely fell in love with it because I am not the most decisive person, and I definitely fall into the trap of thinking there's a right and a wrong decision. Even though I know that things aren't black or white, and that's kind of all or nothing thinking, it's still what my brain kind of defaults to. So this is a really helpful reminder that it's just a decision, and likely it's the best decision that you can make with the information that you have available, and then you work around it because there's no other choice. So I just really like that, and I'll probably print this a couple more times to have in some of my other setups. The last thing is I have a piece of blotting paper here, and I just cut this down to pocket size. I prefer this to a pencil board because I like the feeling of writing on paper instead of writing on plastic. And I'm a really heavy hand too, so this just feels like it's sinking in nicely. Plus, with the Tomoe River paper, things can smudge if they don't dry right away, so this is just perfect. I just kind of put it in wherever is needed. I will likely be using a Jetstream as my everyday pen, and I'm not entirely sure yet how I'm going to carry it with me when I'm out. I might try and put on a little clip to the side so I can hook my pen clip in that, or I do also have this from Babette at Not Just Knots. So I think I'll probably use this because it's beautiful and the colors match perfectly. Oh, I've put it on backwards. And I just love having my pen kind of slipped in the elastic on the side there. So we'll see. It's definitely an option. The only other thing that I want to do with this setup is I'm going to make a little folder out of vellum to go in here just to house some sticker sheets or any loose ephemera. We've loaned our laminator out right now though, so I just need to wait until that comes back. I'll probably use the same vellum as I used in the back here. And I'm also going to make a washi card with some of the colors that I'll probably use the most often in here, which are kind of those colors I showed you, like more neutral, gray, the peach, the burgundy. And well, let's be honest, I'll probably end up using any washi tape that I have because it's beautiful and it doesn't all have to match. But I do have some new ones coming, so I'm just waiting on that to make the washi cards. So this bullet journal is going to be my everyday carry. I will have a bunch of other planners and notebook systems on the go, and I will do a video that shows you guys what exactly those are. Setting up this bullet journal was so much fun, and I really do think that the spreads I chose will be functional for me, and if they're not, then I'll know for next time. I'd love to know what you're using for 2020, so please feel free to let me know in the comments below. And I'll be sure to try and link everything that I mentioned or showed you guys in the description box below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.